struggle, and it is what is sustaining here. Your question, my sweet, your name?
My name's Tanya Fields. I was actually on Melissa's show last month. I'm a low-income mom
Yes,
living
I saw
in the,
you.
and my daughter's first board book was Happy to Be Nappy.
All right.
And the words that you guys are saying right now are so sustaining. As a low-income black mother, I have been struggling to find my voice. And so I've been using my platforms, Twitter, Facebook, and talking about this being a whole person, what it means to be unmarried with 3 baby daddies and 4 kids. The pushback that I am often feeling is not from the white folks in the community. It is from the other sisters who will tear me down, tell me that the reason that I am low income is because I didn't have the insight to choose good men, that I should have kept my hand out and my mouth closed and my legs closed and kept my hand out. And so I'm trying to figure out, as we talk about this plantation culture, as I try to rise above my circumstances and literally create meals that the babies in my community can eat, how do we... It stops you from wanting to have that voice. I have people who tell me, when you talk about being low income, don't talk about feeding your kids on food stamps. You don't need an audience for that. Suffer in shame and in silence. The situation that you are feeling is your own and is a product of your own bad choice. I am pregnant with my 5th child and just had this man walk out on me. How do you wake up every morning and I consider myself a black feminist, but some days it's just so hard to get out of the bed and face other black people.
I said, take it. I actually said, take it, Mom.
So that is exactly what the whole thing is designed to do. The language you used, sit alone in your shame and suffer alone. So,
I don't know what to say. The clip you just saw was from a recording from the New School with Melissa Harris Perry and Bell Hooks. And it was toward the end of their talk. Their talk was like damn near 2 hours. But this is just a little 2-minute clip, and it was sent to me by a subscriber. And the portion I didn't show in the clip was what Melissa Harris Perry said afterward, which I don't think is all that important sometimes. But the fact is that even though this is 5 years ago and hopefully the environment has changed and black women have started to do something different, what struck me is the lack of wisdom, how men handle things and how women handle things. Now, you heard what she said. She has 4 kids by 3 men, 4 children, 3 baby daddies. Notice the language. Notice the language. Now take a reverse on that. Put that same scenario in a council of men. Or even put that same person and make it a man. He has 4 children by 3 women, and he's got a 4th one pregnant. Would you have gotten the same reaction? On my Saturday show, my Saturday hangout, I had a young brother call in, jump in on my hangout because he didn't like the way I talk to women. He didn't like the rough language that I use with women that are irresponsible. And he wonders why I'm so adamant about holding women accountable for their womb. And how come I'm not as rough on the guys? It's because life is going to be rough on the guys anyway. There is no man that could say the exact same thing that that woman said and not be publicly shamed in any arena. In any arena. But that woman, who's not very attractive, knows what she has to work with, is low-key blaming, by the language, low-key blaming her 3 baby daddies. She's pregnant with her 5th, and a man just walked out on her. And you can see it in everybody's faces that men are abandoning this poor woman with these children, and she's left alone to fend for herself. And even she says it. The women that are around her secretly are giving her good advice. But you can see in public how they are coddling this behavior. Even though they know this is destructive. There, dear, it's not your fault. It is not your fault. We have to build a structure to allow you to do the reckless things that you are doing because it is not your fault. You are a victim of the environment that you're around. Even though, yes, I know you make bad decisions, and we all do. And even women that make good decisions get caught up because of the poor patriarchal black men that are in our midst and that toxic masculinity that they use and abuse women's wombs and then are run off when times get rough. I wish I could do follow-ups on this particular woman and see who she really is and how her life turned out and what the real story was, but we know we can't. But I can assume that just looking at her, not even just knowing her life, but just looking at her, you can always almost see the scenario. She's getting low quality men in the first place because she is not the most attractive woman. If she's poor and she's on food stamps, she has nothing else to offer them except what? Access to her body. And if she does have a man that's in her life that has access to her body, that is helping her with the other 4 kids, why would you get pregnant with a 5th and burden him with 5 kids, especially with 4 other kids by other men? And where were the wise women in her ear telling her what to do? Where are the wise women in her ear telling her that you need to shut the factory off? Okay, you need to raise the 4 or 5 that you have. You're already on food stamps. You're already very low income. You're not Sierra. You're not an 8, 9, or 10. You're actually a 3 or a 4. You have to work with the material that you have. Trading access to your womb to have a man or get help only goes so far. It only goes so far. Where the thing I looked at the whole building, I looked at that panel, and these are supposed to be our black female intelligentsia. The women on that stage knew that what she was doing is reckless and that is bad behavior. Melissa Harry Perry only has 1 child. Bell Hooks has none. And they've spoken to and seen thousands and thousands of women with her same plight. But yet, black women always go back to coddling that behavior. White women would never do that. Asian women would never do that. Asian women and white people would tell you, you need to buckle up and suffer with your decisions. Now, the young lady, I'm supposing she was a young lady, but I don't know how young she could be if she's pregnant with her 5th kid and on her 4th baby daddy. Was very intelligent, probably college educated. She's not stupid. She's not retarded. You have 4, buy 3, and you've just done it again. And all the women in that crowd are telling you that it's okay. And if that 5th guy comes walking in because he didn't want to take on that burden of having 5 kids and probably being a guy that doesn't earn very much, because trust and believe, a high quality guy with a high quality job in the future is not going to take on 5 kids by a woman that looks like that. It is what it is. We can sugarcoat it if we want to, but it's not going to happen. And every woman in that crowd should be telling her that. Now, she had been on 2 shows with Melissa Harris Perry. And evidently she thinks it's okay, and she's going to get some kind of comfort from these people in this crowd, that I shouldn't be shamed for screwing up my life, that the whole community should come together and help me, even though I'm making bad decisions. That's what I was telling the brother on Saturday night. Sometimes you have 3 and 4 generations of dysfunctional female families. It starts to be set in stone. It starts to be a pattern. And then when something goes wrong, then it's the men that are at fault. Not what you learned, not what your mother taught you or your grandma taught you or your great grandma taught you. It's the men's fault. The men that were raised by you, they're in the same circumstance that you are in. The men that you picked, because trust and believe, after having the first one, you should know how to pick the second one. And failing that, after the second one, you should know how to pick the third. Reality should set in when you have a child. And I see it all the time where black women coddle each other in bad behavior. And the boys, they will coddle bad behavior. But all of a sudden, when they turn 18 and become men, then all of a sudden they want this upright, high moral fiber standing with their men. And it's never been taught or cultivated in their own life or in their family life or in their boys' life. They want men that have not been taught anything except the same perverse matriarchy that they've been given all their lives, or for 4 generations, all of a sudden find their way and pull the black women out of their morass. Where are the wise women? If the best and the brightest of us cannot give wise counsel, and trust, believe, there aren't any best and brightest and wiser supposedly than bell hooks and Melissa Harris Perry. These people have PhDs. These people are well-read. These people went to the best schools. They sit on the best councils. They look at the best statistics. They have access to stuff that the average person, the average Joe like me, could never have, and they know better. If this is what passes for wise counsel for black women in our community, I'm sorry. The black community is done. It's like giving alcoholics money on the street to get more alcohol, knowing that the alcohol is killing them. But the only thing is, with this, you're not just killing the person or destroying the person. You're destroying 2 and 3, 4 generations without even knowing about it. We've already done that. This matriarchy, perverse matriarchy that was forced on us, and trust and believe it was forced on us by outside forces, has been with us for a very long time. It didn't just start yesterday. The only thing is that in the past, everybody knew what it was and nobody blamed the men. It is what it is. Black women knew enough to shut up, make the best of a bad situation, and be accountable for their decisions. And then be able to face reality because they had to. They didn't have any room to be coddled. And they didn't coddle their daughters. They held their daughters accountable. But all of a sudden we had this switch where we do not hold the women accountable. Being reckless with your seed is not the same thing as being reckless with your womb. The seed germinates. The womb is a plant. It bears fruit. The fruit is the reality. And that fruit has other seeds that will bear fruit. See where I'm going with this? A reckless man will destroy himself. A reckless woman with her womb destroys 3 generations. With great power comes great responsibility. And black women are not being taught that. And since they're not being taught that, and they're not being as responsible as they should be, you have what you have. Where are the wise women? Where are the wise women? They weren't on that stage. And from what I hear, the most intelligent women, the most learned women, are saying exactly the same thing as the women down in Ratchetville. And I think the women in Ratchetville might be a little smarter. I'm just saying. But with that, I'm going to jump off. It's the end of my ramble. This is BGS out, and I will see you guys on the next one.